Well, in today's video, we're going through my Prehistoric Kingdom wish list, kind of the animals I'd like to see in the game, either in release or further down the road, and we'll talk a little bit about why I think these are the animals that should come into the game. This list will, of course, be heavily biased. It's just the things I'd like to see personally. First up on the list is Borealopelta. This is a dinosaur that has one of the most impressive so-called dinosaur mummies in existence. Mummy, of course, is a bit of a misnomer. It's just saying that this is a fossil that is so exceptionally preserved that we actually get to look at the integument of the animal, actually get to kind of see it in a much more realistic light than we typically get to see with just bones. We also are able to glean some color information from this guy, knowing that it's factually kind of a reddish brown. This makes it an excellent fit for Prehistoric Kingdom's more realistic, paleo-accurate art style. We've already got a few animals like Archaeopteryx and Microraptor that have real color information represented in the game. I think having an animal like Borealopelta is like a perfect fit. Also, Prehistoric Kingdom just really needs a Notosaurid. This guy is like a nice appropriate scale to add to the game. It's like a decent mid-sized herbivore. It's just a perfect kind of animal to include in my mind. And I just like him. I even have this tiny little Borealopelta figure I bought from a museum. That's how much I like this guy. I actually went ahead and just bought a little figurine of him because he's cool. Number 2 on the list. These are in no particular order. I kind of drafted out a list, moved some stuff around, thought about some other things, and then just kind of started plopping them into the slides here in essentially random order. But number 2 is Heterodontosaurus. To me, this has always been like an iconic dinosaur species dating back to my childhood. You know, reading like children's dinosaur books, this guy always came up. He's a very unique, small little herbivore here with these kind of like vampire fangs. You can give him some really cool, spiky, quill-like feathering. There's a lot I think you can do with this little guy. He would slot in well into the vivarium roster, being that there are no herbivorous dinosaurs that are currently vivarium species. This would give the game one of these. Heterodontosaurids, as a larger group, also have a little bit of a reputation within gaming because in Ark Survival Evolved, you have the Pegomastix, a little heterodontosaurid who likes to steal your shit. So he's got a little bit of gamer cred, you know? Number 3 is Elaphrosaurus. This is an animal. This and Lemusaurus are animals I've talked about a little bit in GWE3 videos. I think these are either Lemosaurus or Elaphrosaurus. I favor Elaphro. Either one is a great kind of animal to add to either Jurassic World Evolution or Prehistoric Kingdom, anything with juveniles and an ontogeny system, because these animals have a very unique trait of going from a juvenile that is toothed to an adult that is beaked. Their teeth fall out as they develop this beak and grow up. So it's a really interesting opportunity to have a juvenile that is dramatically different from the adult, which would be a fantastic addition to either game, I think. The skull here on this slide is a juvenile Lemosaurus. The reason I favor Elaphrosaurus over Lemosaurus is the animal that we discovered that taught us this trait about these kind of animals, but Elaphrosaurus is larger and older. It's an animal we've known about for longer. Elaphrosaurus would also provide some valuable representation to both Africa and Southern Hemisphere Gondwanan dinosaur species in general. Number 4 is a fairly obvious inclusion. I'm actually very surprised that number 4 isn't already in the game. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't make it in. But that's Therizinosaurus, or a Therizinosaurus of some description. I believe there was not Therizinosaurus, but something else in one of the very early like alpha tests or something. I should have looked that up, but I didn't. But I just put down here on this one specifically Therizinosaurus for the namesake. It's obviously an iconic animal. It's another species that people know from Ark. Obviously, it's in Jurassic Park with Jurassic World Dominion. And it's just generally a cool animal with, you know, the big scythe finger blades and whatnot. And yeah, we have no Therizinosaurids in PK, but there was at one point a Therizinosaurus that was potentially going to be included. So bring it back, put in maybe the big guy, or put in a different one. You could have like Duonicus, which is a relatively new one with just like 2 finger blades instead of 3. There's like a lot of options for these guys. And yeah, we should have a Therizinosaurus in the game because they're a very large, unique looking animal. They cast a very unique silhouette, being this, you know, bipedal theropod, but herbivorous with this big gut, long neck. Nothing quite like them in the dinosaur family tree. I mean, the closest you get is like Dinochirus, but it's still a substantially different silhouette compared to Dinochirus. Completely different posture. Number 5 is my very close to heart personal pick of my precious the Herrerasaurus. It's one of my favorite dinosaurs. I'm always going to argue for this thing being included in games. We obviously have this in JWE, but I would love to see it in Prehistoric Kingdom as well. This provides valuable Triassic representation. And I think it's my opinion that in general, Prehistoric Kingdom is lacking in the smaller carnivore department. We have like Velociraptor and then Dilophosaurus, which is not small in Prehistoric Kingdom. There's not much in that roster on the low end. And this could be a great animal to add to that for some diversity. This would also give us something that is closer in scale to like a Jurassic Park Velociraptor, because we have the realistic, much smaller Velociraptor in Prehistoric Kingdom itself. I think Herrerasaurus is just a really interesting and fascinating animal because it's got this like very unique anatomy that has historically caused a lot of confusion in the paleontological community about where this falls in the dinosaur family tree. It's been all over the place. It's been a sauropod, it's been a theropod, it's been not even a dinosaur at some point in time in some different studies. Currently, everything favors it being like a basal saurischian, like falling kind of in between like the sauropod and theropod split, being kind of its own separate third branch. And that's just kind of really cool. He's got all sorts of traits that are just different. While still being very visibly, you know, at a glance, a dinosaur, right? It's very easy to dismiss Herrerasaurus as just a generic theropod by glancing at it, having a vaguely Jurassic Park Velociraptor-like silhouette. But the anatomy is just completely different. It's got like unique looking hip bones. It's got 5 toes. The jaw here on the skull has this like weird hinge in the lower jaw that kind of allows it to flex a little bit. Maybe allowing its jaw to kind of wrap around prey slightly. That's pretty cool. Who else has that? Nobody. That's awesome. Put him in the game. This guy actually has Prehistoric Kingdom concept art. This is from like 2014 or 2015, very early on. This might have been from like Kickstarter promotions or something way back in the dark ages. So it definitely was on their radar at some point. So hopefully they bring him back. I'd love to see him. Now, this roster here, you know, 5 animals feels like the amount you would want for a video like this. You know, these are the 5 animals that should be blah, 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 blah. Everybody does shit in like 5s. It makes sense. But I threw in here a 6 because it's kind of the 6th one that was standing out to me. You can call him an honorable mention if you want, or he can just be the 6th animal. It's fine. Megaraptor. He should be in the game because he's just cool. Ultimately, that's the simple answer, right? He's cool. Megaraptor is a very iconic name. The Megaraptor. Just kind of interesting look and proportion with this kind of, you know, very like, again, it's a small to mid-sized theropod that at a glance kind of has a generic theropod silhouette, but then gets a little different the longer you look at it. It's got kind of some decently lanky legs. Of course, I mentioned already the very strong arms with these massive hooked claws. A lot of the depictions of these Megaraptorans have kind of interesting head shapes as well. I mean, look at the Australopithecus in JWE, right? And of course, we don't have a Megaraptoran in PK. So like throwing in a Megaraptoran makes perfect sense. That'd be pretty cool. He'd be a neat guy. So I think he should be there. Well, that's kind of it for this video. I just thought I'd throw something together to talk a little bit more about PK and like the kind of things I'd like to see from it. You know, I've thrown a little bit out here and there with like the Dev Diary video we did about like some things I'd like to see. And I think we should talk about PK more because I think PK stocks are going up. I quite like what I'm seeing from the game. More and more. Every update, every PK update is just like, yes, please, more. Well, that'll be it for this video. I'll catch you everybody in the future. Why is my camera unfocused, you